All right, so Marc Maron's back at it, and this time he's not just throwing shade at Joe Rogan, he's coming in with what he calls reasonable criticism. Here's the gist. Maron thinks Rogan's basically built this army of comedy fans who think they know comedy, but really they only know Rogan approved comedy. The anti woke Austin scene. Lots of punching down at marginalized groups, normalizing slurs, platforming dodgy ideas, and according to Maron, it's not just offensive, it's hack.
I think that it's tribalized,
Mm.
and I think that, he's created a sort of army of people that think they know comedy, but they only know a specific thing, and what they think is good is not necessarily good. It may be what they're like.
In his new special Panicked, he even jokes about Theo Von interviewing Hitler.
I think if Hitler were alive today, he'd probably appear on Theo Von's podcast. And Theo would be like,
So y'all did a lot of meth, right, Hitler? I did meth once, stayed up 3 days, ate a live bird. You get the picture. Now he's been doing the podcast rounds, Bad Friends Vulture podcast, openly clowning Rogan's enlightened meathead following, predicting they'll run out of material because the same tired COVID jokes and trans jokes have been beaten into dust. His point? At some stage, these guys won. The groups they're mocking have already been politically hammered, so why keep kicking them unless you're just a hack? Maron's also got his bigger cultural gripe. Comedy, in his mind, is for the sensitive weirdos, not the high school locker room bullies, and he blames Rogan for letting those guys run the room. Bobby Lee even jumps in during Bad Friends to agree that the scene's oversaturated with bro comics, while the true weirdos get buried under all the noise. He doesn't just talk in vague terms either. He calls Rogan and Tony Hinchcliffe out by name on Vulture. Says they hitched themselves to Trump because he was more pro-speech, then acted shocked when the policies they aligned with actually happened. Now they've got the dominant position, so the We're the Underdogs act doesn't work anymore. And he's been taking this stance for a while. Remember, back in 2011 on WTF, Maron straight up told Rogan he didn't like athletic guys in comedy and thought Fear Factor disqualified him from being a comedy authority. At the time, it felt like jealousy, but now it's evolved into a full-blown cultural clash. Maron's comedy versus Rogan's comedy. Two totally different visions of what the art should be. Whether you think Maron's bitter or just saying what other comics won't, this beef's gone way past personal. It's turned into a fight over what stand-up even is, and who gets to define it. That's the roundup. Thanks for watching, you lovely bastards.